Hey everyone, this is your stimulus check update for Wednesday, July 1st. This update will be talking about the first stimulus check for those of you that still haven't received it, and the second stimulus check for those of you that are wondering when it might happen and how much it might be. And I'm going to be specifically talking about some of you on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and VA benefits. In addition to this, I'm going to be going over some of the things that the Fed Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin just said regarding the second stimulus check. I'm also going to be going over the non-filers tool and to those of you that have Representative Payees. If you have not subscribed to my channel already, my name is Justin and I do stimulus check updates and financial advice. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you'll be notified each and every time I upload a new video. And be sure to like this video so that YouTube will share it with others. I continue to get questions about the first stimulus check, and so I'm going to go over some things that just came out from the IRS about the first stimulus check today, and I'm also going to be going over what Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell just said about another stimulus check, and what Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, just said about a second stimulus check. For those of you that are on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or VA benefits, I know many of you still haven't received your first stimulus payment and you're wondering where they are. These are the things that you can do to figure out how to get your stimulus payment quicker or to get some information on whether or not you're going to be receiving a stimulus payment. First off, you can call the IRS at the Stimulus Hotline, 1-800-919-9835. That hotline is specifically set up to answer questions regarding your stimulus payments. There is an additional IRS number that is not supposed to be for stimulus payment questions, but some people have had some success using it, and I will leave that number in the description below. So go ahead and try calling those numbers and be patient. Most likely you're not going to get through the first time. You're going to probably have to try a few different times, but I do get a lot of people that get through eventually and get a representative that can help them, and they've resolved questions for them. Keep checking the Get My Payment tool to see if you need to add any additional information to the Get My Payment tool so that the IRS can process your stimulus payment. For those of you that aren't on SSI, SSDI, or Social Security and are still waiting for your stimulus payment, you can do some of those same things, but make sure if you file taxes or you are required to file taxes, do not use the non-filers tool, as that will delay your stimulus payment and possibly your tax return. Many of you have already used the non-filers tool and have received your first stimulus payment because of it. For those of you that still haven't received your first stimulus payment and either have used the non-filers tool and still don't have a date, or use the non-filers tool and are still waiting for a date, keep checking the Get My Payment tool. And if you have any problems where the non-filers tool is not working, give the IRS a call and you can ask them questions on how to fill out the non-filers tool. The non-filers tool is pretty confusing to fill out, and it does take a little bit of work to actually get it filled out correctly. So go ahead and call the IRS. For those of you that have dependent children and received your stimulus check, but did not receive the stimulus money of $500 for each of your children that are dependents, the IRS just updated some information on this. On the IRS website, it has the question, I am not required to file a tax return and use the non-filers tool. Enter payment info here tool to provide information about one or more qualifying children. I received the $1,200 if individual or $2,400 if a married couple, economic impact payment EIP, but did not get the additional $500 EIP for each qualifying child. What should I do? The answer to this is, if you use the non-filers tool before May 17th, you do not need to take any action. The IRS is actively working on a method to fix this error and automatically issue the additional $500 EIP to the impacted individuals as soon as possible. We will continue to provide updates as more information is available. So initially the IRS was telling people that if they didn't use the non-filers tool before May 17th and didn't receive their $500 for their children, that they had to file taxes the start of the 2021 tax year to actually receive that $500 credit for their children. However, now it sounds like they are working on a different solution potentially so that they could get that $500 into your hands if you did not receive it with the first $1,200 or $2,400 as a married couple. So stay tuned for that. Maybe the IRS will come up with a solution where they can actually get you your $500 stimulus for your children that are dependents before having to file taxes in the 2021 tax year, because that was going to be a huge wait for a lot of people. So if you have dependent children and you did not receive your $500 for them, there is hope that you may get it before next year. So in addition to this update about the non-filers tool and those with dependents, they also did a small update for those of you that receive your benefits from Representative Payees. So the IRS has usually said that the Representative Payee will be the one receiving your stimulus payment, and they gave a little bit of clarification on their website just recently. So the question that is asked is, how will the IRS send my economic impact payment? Anytime they say economic impact payment, it's really just stimulus check or stimulus payment. How will the IRS send my economic impact payment if I have a representative payee or I am a representative payee? If you filed a 2019 or 2018 tax return, your payment was or will be sent to the bank account provided on your tax return for a direct deposit of your tax return, or mailed to the address we have on file if a tax return was mailed or there was no refund on your tax return. If you did not file a 2019 or 2018 tax return, an individual payee should be receiving EIPs to the same direct deposit account or direct express card as the recipient's monthly benefit payment. The mailing of these payments to payees is underway. For an organizational representative payee, the schedule above is the same, except that the payee may receive the EIP electronically or by mail. So if you have a representative payee, most likely you'll be receiving that payment the same way you received your benefit payment, such as SSI, SSDI, or Social Security, to your representative payee. If you still haven't received your stimulus payment, talk to your payee and see if they have received it and just haven't let you know yet. They are going out by direct deposit, onto direct express cards, and by mail. And it sounds like if they're going out by mail, they just started sending them out by mail. So that's it for the first stimulus payment. Let's discuss the second stimulus payment now. Just this week, Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, and Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chair, testified before the House Financial Services Committee. And it does sound like they disagreed a little bit on whether there will be a second stimulus check. Both Jerome Powell and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin in the past have said that there is a chance that there will be another stimulus payment. And Jerome Powell especially has pushed for another stimulus payment many times. However, this time it sounds like they're a little bit different on their views of a second stimulus payment directly to individuals. First off, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said, "The path forward for the economy remains extraordinarily uncertain and will depend in large part on our success in containing the virus. The path forward will also depend on policy actions taken at all levels of government to provide relief and to support the recovery as long as needed." So that was Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, what he said to the House. Steve Mnuchin said, "We will be beginning to have conversations about supplemental relief legislation. We would anticipate that any additional relief would be targeted to certain industries that have been especially hard hit by the pandemic, with a focus on jobs and putting all American workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own back to work." It sounds like Jerome Powell is still on board with another round of stimulus payment and various forms of stimulus to individuals and to businesses, and maybe other stimulus that we don't know about yet. But Steve Mnuchin sounds like he may have changed his tune a little bit, or is revising what he said before, and that they will probably only target to industries or possibly to employees that lost their jobs directly because of the COVID pandemic. So it sounds like there's still a little bit of a split there between the Federal Reserve and the Treasury to decide if there is going to be another stimulus payment or not. Both of them appear to be watching how the coronavirus is spreading. And as of right now, it sounds like it is starting to spike again in some states that have reopened. Both Texas and Florida are scaling back their reopening efforts, and they're doing so because of the spikes in cases in each of their states. They have both closed bars that had been opened, and they've now said, nope, sorry, you can't open these because the pandemic is starting to spread again. So that's something I think we need to watch closely to see how the coronavirus is spreading, and see if it is continued to spike as states are reopening. That's going to be a lot more likely that they're going to need to send out another stimulus payment to individuals. In addition to this, extra unemployment benefits that were part of the CARES Act end at the end of July. And USA Today just reported that that might end actually July 24th instead of July 31st. So a little bit earlier than expected. And that's because of the timing of how those unemployment benefits go out. So that's not good news if you're on unemployment and you've been receiving that extra $600 a week. So that's something to watch as the next few weeks happen. And the Senate, as we know, is going on recess from July 3rd until July 17th. They will be back in session July 20th, and I think they're going to be watching very closely how the spread of the virus is going. And if it's starting to spread again, and it looks like that there's going to be more local and state shutdowns, then I think the Senate is really going to be incentivized to get more stimulus payments to individuals. If people are going to have to stop going to work again and stop reopening, that's a really bad sign for the economy. And that most likely means that they would be a lot more inclined to pass a bill with a second stimulus payment in it. So over the next few weeks, that's something to definitely watch. And in addition to this, tomorrow the June unemployment numbers come out, so we'll get a feel for if they went back up and got a little bit better like they did in May, or if unemployment numbers have surged a little bit and there's more people out of work again. That's going to be a huge indicator on whether the Senate passes another stimulus bill that includes payments for individuals or something else that might be more targeted to those that have lost their jobs. That is your stimulus update for Wednesday, July 1st. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, hit the like button so that YouTube will share this video with others, and subscribe to my channel so that you'll get all of the latest updates from me when I post a new video. Thank you once again so much for watching, and I will talk to you again soon.